Started. So thanks to everybody for popping on. I'm Shannon. I'm one of the managing brokers for Best Choice. I've got Lori Palomino here today. But it's an extra kind of little treat. She doesn't typically jump on Mondays, but we're talking about all sorts of different marketing things going on right now. So what's new, what's in, what's out. It's kind of like what not to wear. Let's take everything out of the closet, take a look at it, put it back in. Okay, so topic of the hour, staying relevant as we go into next year. I think relevancy is important. And I got Lori here as well. So thank you, Lori, for jumping on. So we can kind of chit chat about what's going on, what's in, what's out. What do we need to remove from the closet? It's just like when we do the entering fall, or do we really need that sweater? Do we need a different
Yes, we do.
size? Yes. So it's kind of a good time to think about it. I think most agents that are in this business a long time, this is the time of year where they're budgeting and planning for next year. So we figured we would put this together so that you guys can all budget and plan for next year and have this as part of your tool belt. So is it time for a refresh, Lori? I don't know.
Well, I guess this is probably pretty obvious to everybody, but your signage does not have an infinite shelf life. The exposure, the way you store your signs, this is all going to affect how long your signage stays fresh looking. The material that we use for our yard signs is aluminum composite, which is wonderful. It's lightweight, stays really bright and fresh. But you do want to make sure that you store it properly, and that's with storing a barrier cloth between them so they don't get scratched. Our advice is to never let the sign companies pick up your signs because they don't care for them the way you would. So yeah, if you care for them properly, you're probably looking at, I would say, a max of 5 years for your yard signs. The corrugated plastic signs probably last a little bit longer. But yeah, just a reminder that your guys' signage kind of is a representation of you in somebody's yard. So if your sign looks fresh, clean, and great, I think that's just kind of the way you're going to be perceived. So if you guys are needing new signage, have any questions about signage, you can always reach out direct to me. You can see your options on our website under the member resources. And it takes about 2 weeks total from the time you reach out to me to have your signs show up at your house. So pretty quick process.
Yeah. And I think this is the time too. It's like, let's take a look at your signage. I know I had some of mine come back. The inventory is coming back. Hopefully the houses have sold, right? And it's time to kind of take a look at them. Are they on trend? Is it the right phone number? Is it the right website? I mean, sometimes things change and it's kind of good to take a look at what is out there when you take a listing, because it is a reflection of you and how you're running your business. We recommend looking at least once a year. I know I do. I mean, last year, I think we did two different signs, Lori, right? Like it was a
Yep.
6-month turn from when we were looking at our own signage. So, I guess take a feather out of our hat. It's good to take a look at your materials. It's not just signage though. I mean, what are you doing for your just sold postcards? What are you doing for your directionals? What are you doing for your buyer presentations? I don't know if you guys knew we have newer presentations that you can use. So let's take a look at those, out with the old, in with the new, just so we can stay modern and stay relevant. So, it's also good with competition. If other people are doing different things, you want to stay on top of it. If you're behind the 8 ball, then you're behind the 8 ball. So I've got some sample rapid fire stuff that usually we get around this time of year. So on the screen, you guys can see we've got a sample of, this is what my sign looked like right now. So if you're kind of figuring out what people are doing, if they're doing co-branding, are they doing websites, what are people doing? So real quick question. So bin for the car. So do we have a key box in your car? You're ready to go. Do you have buyer presentations? Do you need to restock some of them? Directional signs, are we replenished? I know I went the other day where I go, oh shoot, I need to put a for sale directional out, and I realized I only had one, and it takes a couple weeks once you order to get them. So shame on me, I should have restocked them earlier, right? So this is kind of a good time of year to assess what you have and figure out what you need. It's good for taxes too. You can get it all in before the end of the tax year. Business cards too. I've had a couple people reach out in the last week or so that needed new business cards. It's been a while, got a new headshot, let's get a new image out there, whatnot. So this is the time of year to look up and think about those things. QR codes versus website links. So I think Laura, you can kind of speak to this a bit. You went to
Mhm.
an event, it was like a marketing design event thing, and it's all about the QR codes now, huh?
Yeah, a lot of people are using QR codes. Obviously, they're just, yeah, they're a little more at the forefront than they were. So, and all of our signage, all of our designs can accommodate a QR code. If that's not what you're into and you want your website listed, you can do that as well. So it really kind of comes down to personal choice. But yeah, if you do want to order signage, all you need to do is send a QR code to me along with it. And yeah, we can get that on your sign.
Yeah. I think part of it is it's easier as a consumer to grab a
Hmm.
QR code when you're driving by something. Like they can literally zoom in with their cameras rather than they have to sit there and type something into a search engine. So it's gotten a lot easier. It's the way for the consumer to get the information faster. Um,
Hmm.
I have seen this more often. We're seeing more eco flyers. They're coming back. I know. With days on market increasing means that we can actually get these before the property sells, which means we're starting to see more flyers in boxes, more eco flyers, things like that. So perma flyers is what they're also called, perma flyers or eco flyers. Sign companies, I know that Sign Pros does them, Bear Printing, it does perma flyers. Just reach out to your sign company, see if they have an eco flyer or permanent flyer option. That might be something to consider rather than constantly having to refresh flyer boxes. Videography, video tours. We'll talk about video a little bit later here, but yeah, videography for listings and for yourself is starting to become more and more prevalent. Same thing with video tours on listings. It's more than just photos. We're actually, the consumers are driving and wanting more. Virtual staging, it's not going away. I would be careful about how much you use it. I think some people overuse it. It is useful in some circumstances, but floor plans are something I would, non-negotiable, I would put on every single listing I take. Just because it's so easy to do. It's not inexpensive. It's very inexpensive to do. It only takes a couple seconds. And again, it's what the consumers are craving. Popped up as 50% of home buyers want to see a home is the most important thing they want to see in a listing. So something to include potentially on your listing presentations, that sort of thing. Personalization is mattering more now than it did a couple years ago. So we're seeing, you can kind of even see with our sign, Rochelle and I basically were discussing, we had this like perception of how it was in like the early 2000s where people would have pictures of themselves on signs and we're like, no, 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 aversion, aversion. And it's
Hmm.
kind of gone the other direction where we are going back to that, where the agent is front and center. They're on the signs. They are the ones to contact, that sort of thing. So lean into it. When you're getting photos of yourself, make sure you get something that will work for some sort of transparent background so you can do these types of
Hmm.
things. It'll make people like Lori very, very happy.
Yeah, and make sure that whatever photographer you're working with, that they give you a high resolution file, not just one that would be suitable for a business card. You need to have something that's very high quality that we can enlarge large enough to go on a sign and still look good.
Yep. Yep. And co-branding is not going away. So if you've got a personal brand, I mean, we're not shy about it. We love it. We love creativity at Best Choice. So this is kind of, we've got new sign lines and things like that to accommodate it. It's not going away. That's kind of what the new trend is doing when it comes to personal branding. Here are kind of some samples. I love seeing what other people are doing. So if you're like me, this is like you're taking screenshots of this, but this is I think with our presentations that we have, I've used them and I've gone out on appointments and I go, oh my gosh, I need something about me as the agent. What makes me different? What sets me apart? It's got my information, my phone number, my headshot. And this is what these other agents have also done as well, so that it can work in conjunction with all these materials we are providing to you. So some customization, David Sturm, like shout out to David Sturm and Selling North Idaho and Jenny Anderson. Each one of these are Best Choice agents. They've all taken a different kind of approach to how they want this to look inside their materials, focusing on, what is important to them and their demographic of clients. So, yeah, lots of different approaches you could take here. Um, Differentiators and adding value, I think setting yourself apart is important. We've said this for forever. But it's important to think what makes you different. There are over 70,000 agents in Washington, Northwest MLS at least specifically. What makes you different than the other 70,000 that are out there? I have some ideas here on the screen of what some of our top producers, they usually will have something like this in addition to selling or reselling with friends and family and things like that. Are you a first-time homebuyer expert? Are you a neighborhood expert? One of those two, I would say you don't need to be licensed 20 years to be a neighborhood expert or a first-time homebuyer expert. You know, you yourself can be one of those, even if you're not licensed for very long. A hanger home specialist. Do you specialize in farm properties, land, VA, hometown heroes? You know, some people focus in and hone in on military connections, firefighter connections, police officer connections, you know, things like that. Focus in on those types of communities. 55 plus communities. I've got some of our agents that they hone in on manufactured homes on lease land or 55 and older communities. That's all they do. You know, and that's what they focus on. Adult family homes, investors, builders, estate sales, give back, charity. I mean, just some ideas. What makes you different? All the material that you're creating should solve the client's problem. So if you do a lot of land, hopefully you've got some material or some guides or some resources to kind of focus in on the consumer's problem when it comes to selling and buying land. Any comments on that, Lori?
No, I think it's a great idea. We do have several of our best choice brokers that do have these specialties, and they utilize them as you're seeing on screen now in their social media, on print advertising. So yeah, just getting the word out there of what their specialty is.
Yeah. And this is memorable. Even if, you know, for me, if I had never sold a home before or I worked with Maricon and I didn't know, I was like, she's the one who gives back to her foundation. Or, you know, Gina and Jessica, they're the ones that have the Heroes Club. Like, you know, if I sell a home, there's some sort of benefit for the hometown heroes. Or Lynette, you know, this picture up here is actually a picture of me and Lynette. And she hones in on her hanger home community. It's instead of garages, they have airplane hangar garages. You know, it's an interesting kind of niche market. But hone in on where you think you're going to be specializing, where you're going to see your business, and hone in on that. That's all I can tell you. Marketing tech and tools. So again, around this time of year, take everything out of the closet and let's put it back in. What technology tools are you using right now? What's most important to you? What are you getting the best return on your investment? Where are you spending your time when it comes to creating different things? So I think right now what we're seeing the trend for most of our agents is we're focused, the issue right now is real versus AI support. There is a difference. So when you're looking at a technology, if you have your own CRM system, your own website provider, or this social media thing, or whatever it is that you're doing, if you're paying for some sort of provider or technology or tool to help support your business, I would sure hope they have some sort of real support rather than leaning on a chat bot. Authenticity is a big thing. I think I've realized even with I reached out to my bank just the other day and we were having an issue trying to figure out what happened. You know, I needed some more information about how a wiring instruction came through. And I went through the chat and I go, oh my gosh, it was a real person. Oh my gosh, it was instant feedback. It was quick. It was real. It was a real person. It was not a chat. There's no way it was a chat. And you know, now I know I'm like, they're incredibly helpful. So lean in on that. If you're, you know, working with a technology provider, sometimes if you get something a lot more simple, and it doesn't have the AI, so maybe that's better for what you're looking for if you're needing more help. I'm seeing more consolidation, simplicity in the programs. So less scrappy. I think there's been a lot of people going in different direction. I got this CRM system. I've got this marketing platform. I'm using Canva for this. I'm using, you know, they're using 4 or 5 different things when it comes to their business. I'm seeing a lot more consolidation. Let's just use one platform. It may not have all the bells and whistles, but it's one place for me to go. So leaning into simplicity, I think, is the trend as we go into next year. Market data research is clients and consumers want more data. They want to see the data, especially right now when it's a little bit more soft, where the days on market is longer, buyers are wanting to negotiate. Sellers need to see the data to support what we're doing. So sharing some of those things with them, speaking to it, picking up the phone and speaking to the data. I think one of the best things that we learned from last week after our Debbie DeGroat webinar is that you can give them as much information in an email as possible, but if you don't pick up the phone and have the conversation to speak to the data set, it's going to make it a lot harder. If you're not using a marketing platform, you are behind. This is something I hate to say, but it's the way that real estate is going. If you're not using some sort of platform to engage in social media or on the online sphere, you're going to be behind the 8 ball as you go into next year. So we do have a solution for that. So this is probably our most highly adopted program of the year. Isn't that right, Lori? It's like,
Yes.
released this in January, and I think it's the most heavily adopted out of anything we've ever launched before. So I'll let you speak to it, Lori, about how it works or what's most important to agents, that sort of thing.
Well, I think in terms of a marketing platform, I think some of them out there can be very overwhelming. And this one isn't the case. So with Social Bay, I think that the very best part about it is it's easy. It can be as simple as you'd like it to be. It's very kind of set it and forget it, or you can be super involved in your content. But I think that that's one thing that people struggle with is what am I going to post? That's probably one of the biggest challenges. And with this platform, you can basically target different types of content that you're interested in, that you want your sphere to see. And the company itself creates some content for you. You have a content calendar that you can edit. You can still post your own things, but that content is there for you, which is great. Another great feature with Social Bay is that you can do paid advertising right through the platform, which is great, and that ends up being a fantastic lead generation tool. The brokers that we have that are boosting their listings are seeing a lot of lead generation through this. And also, it's basically you have your own built-in design center that you can very easy to use drag and drop templates that you can edit as much or as little as you want to. Very similar to Canva in that way. Pretty simple flyers, postcards. You can do direct mail from the platform, all of your social media. And you also have the ability to generate marketing reports for your clients. And Virginia, I know, uses Social Bay a lot, and she can actually speak to what that marketing report is like that she gives to her clients.
Basically, it's a report that after you run an ad, it gives you the clicks, it gives you what channels you advertise it on, how many views it had, how many interactions it had, and you can send it as a report to your client, and it's connected to their very own landing page. So each one of your properties you have listed has its own landing page. And so when you do boost your listing, it goes straight back to that landing page, and it makes your clients feel like you're doing above and beyond, because they're seeing how you're doing targeting, I retarget most of my listing ads, which is when they click on it, it just keeps following them like a creeper around the internet. But it's really good. So it's really a powerful tool when you're trying to explain to your clients what you're doing, because oftentimes they're wondering why their house hasn't sold in 2 days like their neighbor's house did 3 years ago, and they don't understand the market shifted. So as long as they see what you're doing, and this is proof of what you're doing, then they feel more comfortable with what's going on. It's great for communication.
Yeah, so it's $25 a month, very affordable. If you have any additional questions about it, feel free to just shoot me an email. I can send you, we've got a great video that can kind of run through all of the features that the product offers, but would really encourage you to consider it.
May
Yeah,
I
so
ask a
in
question
essence-
about Social Bay?
Go for it. Go for it.
Has anybody used the platform to send postcards directly from?
Yes,
Michelle and Shannon have.
Yeah.
Yeah, and is the cost pretty
Comparable.
competitive, I
Yeah.
guess?
They have there are 2 different postcard size options. They just opened jumbo, I think, earlier in the year. So there's 2 different options. Very similar. I mean, you're still looking
They're
at like
all right in there.
Yeah, they're
Fact,
right there in
breakthrough
there.
broker, most of the direct mail postcard through real estate types of platforms are going to be very similar.
I just did one with Wise Pelican. I think it was about $200 or so to send like 180 postcards. So I
Yeah.
thought that was pretty decent, but I wasn't sure if I would have to have my own mailing list to upload into Social Bay, or if there's a tool.
No, yeah, there's 2 options. Yeah, so the postcards, you can mail to either a list that you upload, or you can, in essence, have a list that it's a radius around the particular listing. So it's whatever you want to do,
Yeah.
but it's comparable in price, it sounds like, Randy.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so yes, try it out. The platforms that you can sync, I get questions from this from time to time. It's all the stuff that you typically already have. So Facebook, all the meta, so Facebook and Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, X now, but all the major platforms that you're using already. And it's all geared towards exposure. How many impressions can we get? For sellers, that's what they want to see. They want to see, what are you doing?
Mhm.
So perfect. Thank you. So marketing trends that to pay attention to. So kind of as we go into, I want you to think about what is your target demographic. So for me, I live in a very, very small town. My target demographic, most of the sales that I do are around my little community. So if I was doing some sort of marketing ad or advertising or going and doing a booth, like that's where I'm selling, I should dive into that more. Is it mostly millennials? Is it mostly retirees? What is your demographic of clientele? Where are they spending their time? So I'll give you an example. So Julianne, I'll pick on her because hers was on the screen earlier. They work a lot with 55 and olders. Are they necessarily on social media? In some respects, yes, they're going to be on Facebook primarily, but they're doing a lot more of the in-person community engagement. They're doing the booths, they're doing these events because that's where their core group of people are spending their time. If you're working with millennials, first-time home buyers in that kind of 20 as they're getting into 30 time, they're mostly going to be on Instagram and Facebook. That's where we should be spending our time, and our marketing dollar is on the place where they are. Double down in areas with high returns on your investment and you're getting the most engagement. If you're paying for advertising, you want the most eyeballs. You don't want to just put something out there and spend all this time getting ready, and then you only have a couple people that like, comment, share, that sort of thing. So some samples kind of as we go in. So traditional and mail and email, I'll go through the different sources of marketing so you guys can see some samples. Traditional is still there. So I've got some stats for you guys. So 63% of Gen Z consumers appreciate direct mail marketing. This is from Realtor, National Association of Realtors. 63% of Gen Z. They still want to know that we're doing something in the mail. So it's not going away. It is declining in terms of the use for it. But it can work if you're highly personalized, if you're pairing it with some sort of other effort. So whether that's email, in person, something like that. So highly personalized, pair it with another type of advertising medium, focus on the high turnover rate community. So if you've got some sort of farm, if you're interested in farming, something like that. I know our title and escrow reps love talking about farming. It is something that takes time. So Lori, I think you can speak to this a little bit.
Yeah, obviously the two biggest differences with direct mail is your traditional direct mail where you have a list, and yes, that would be where you would want to probably really focus on a targeted list and make it very specific. And then you have your option to do something that is cheaper, a little more affordable, but it's less targeted, and that's called EDDM, which is Every Door Direct. We have done farms for Rochelle utilizing both of these types. I think both of them can work. What I would say to everybody is commit to a year. That sounds like a long time, but that's really about how long it takes to really kind of grab hold in that neighborhood and that people remember you. So it is kind of a long game. I always tell people kind of figure out what you want to spend on this and work backwards from there to see if it's a direction that you want to go.
But rather than farming people that don't know you, my kind of suggestion is why not farm people that already know you? So
Right.
in my example, so I live in a small little tight-knit community. I literally went to school with the people. I haven't moved very far since, I was in high school and all that good stuff. So for me, a lot of these people I know, I went to school with their kids, or, my kids are going to school with their kids. It's a very small little community. Why would I farm outside of the community I already live in? They're going to run into me at the grocery store. They're going to run into me at the, when I go to soccer practice, when we go to the PTA, they're going to run into me in these different places. I want them to continue to see me and think that I'm in real estate. It's going to be a lot easier for you to turn those type of prospects when they already are running into you or already know you. So some ideas that some agents are doing. So yeah, we've got some postcard kind of examples. Don't forget that you can co-sponsor with a lender. Some people forget about that. Traditional mail can be a little bit on the pricier side of things. So if you co-sponsor with a lender, it cuts your ad spend. So don't forget that you can do that. Some things I've seen do really well. We had a, shout out to April Phillips. I know she did this. She does school calendars. And she knows that the parents are putting those things on the refrigerator for the entire school year, so getting ahead of things like that, thinking about what do they need? How can I solve their problem? How can they continue to see me? I've got another one. These are kind of samples of what we've done for different farms and things like that in the past. Are you doing some sort of newsletter? This is with ChatGPT, it can help us get a start with some of the content on this, but we still have to do the work in terms of getting it out and pairing it with another type of advertising avenue. Here's another sample for email. So this is kind of what some people are doing. We've got a newsletter. We've got a customized newsletter from Jamie. You can see over here. He does a really good job. So it says, "We buy houses in cash. Photo I took in South Seattle. You've probably seen signs around your neighborhood or received mail offering to pay cash for homes regardless of the condition." So, I mean, he's speaking to something that he's seen. Literally, he took a picture of that sign. This is another kind of sample. This is one I've sent out that works really well. You get hyper personal with your emails rather than sending something out stock. Get something personal. This is what we're doing. What are you up to? Through it all, we're doing this. People are much, much more likely to respond to an email like this than they are to a generic email that's a newsletter like that. Okay, let's keep going. So social media, let's talk social media. So social proof, authenticity is more important than ever. Sellers just want more. So Candace does a good job. I put her on the screen here of sharing the story. So if you're interested in what are people doing really well, Candace does a good job. If you want to share and follow her, she always tells you, you're welcome to learn from what she's doing or take what she's doing and implement in your own business. But social proof, people want to see that you've done it before. They want to see that you're in the business. They want to know that you're legit and you're authentic and you're true to yourself, that sort of stuff. Some kind of things, rather than doing a just sold, tell the story. So Candace does this really well. Instead of just saying just sold in the marketplace, she'll tell the story of, it took us 12 months, I met them a year ago. Can't believe it's been a year since they sold their house. They were in this program and then we had to flip and do this, but then they were able to get a house $20,000 less than list price. People want to know the story. So don't be afraid to write it out, share the story. You don't need to put your client's name in front of people unless they're ready or comfortable for that, but it does help them understand that you are legitimate and you do this. Some kind of quick stats when it comes to social media. Social media, the way I look at it is this is the new newspaper. This is where a majority of people are spending their time. They're not getting physical newspapers anymore. So when you look at it and think of it that way, it is a tool. It's a way for you to get yourself in front of people, just like we used to do back in the early .com areas with the newspapers. So some quick things to keep in mind. So some stats for you guys. Videos on social media generate 1,200% more shares than text and images combined. Video, video, video. You're going to hear me say this a couple times tonight. Social media posts with videos have 48% more views. You will get more views if you have a reel or a video that's in your post. So try and do walkthrough tours, try and get your face in front of the camera, turn the camera around. I mean, people want to see video more than stills. 45% of consumers would rather communicate with a business through a messaging app than email or text message. I can tell you this is true for me right now. I had a couple friends of mine reach out to me through Facebook Messenger of all places, trying to reconnect with me. It's been 10 years. I gave them my phone number and then they ended up texting me after the fact. But it's that perception of, I don't want to bug them. I don't know if their phone number is still the same phone number. It's been forever. It's a little bit easier for them to reach out to you through Facebook Messenger or those messenger platforms. So don't neglect it. Make sure you have it on your phone so you can respond to them quickly, because oftentimes what you're seeing with sphere of influence when you're doing all the right things is they'll reach out to you through Facebook Messenger. So make sure you're prepared for that. 38% of new clients came from social media. This comes from National Association of Realtors. So almost 40% of new clients are coming from social media. 44% of real estate agents generated at least one high quality lead last year from social media. I would imagine that's actually grown even from this year. So gosh, if half your business is coming from social media, I would certainly want to reinvest what I'm earning into the medium where most people are seeing me. some key kind of points. I've got some samples. So I get some agents ask me, what's reels, post, stories? What am I doing here? Kind of working, you can kind of see reels on the left, a post is in the middle, a story is on the right-hand side. It's when you click on someone's profile post, this is what on Instagram, if you click on that, that is in essence a 24-hour story that's on there. Just kind of quick mention while it's on here, you can see which one is the most engaging, which one you want to look at the most. It's the one that's moving right there on the left-hand side. The video is the one that most people want to take a look at and engage with. So do reels as much as you can. The frequency, it's all about consistency. Find that consistency for yourself. If that's once a week, if that's once every other week, you want to engage with the platform as well as with other people. Making comments on other people's posts and things like that. One of the things that, and it's funny that Chelsea Pites is on here too. I love Chelsea. She's coming to town, I think this next week. So for those that want to see her and learn a little bit more for social media marketing, I know that is going on next week. But one of the things that I always take away from her is it's be a content creator rather than a consumer. So rather than consuming all this stuff in social media, let's create content to then be consumed rather than being stuck in the scroll of doom on social media. Anything you take away from that, Lori, Virginia? Anything you guys want to share?
I think it's all accurate and all true. Virginia does an amazing job with her social media as well. Very, very busy. I think, yeah, just getting yourself out there and kind of making a habit of it.
Yeah. So videography, so this is kind of an interesting thing. I would make the claim that YouTube isn't considerably underutilized. So as we're going into next year, think about long form. I think a lot of people think Facebook and Instagram. They're neglecting the number 2 search engine on the internet, which is YouTube. So it is kind of an interesting thought process if you're looking around doing some sort of farming, or you just want to have the infrastructure around you where you can take and add to a portfolio and take more listings. Look on YouTube, do a search for your own neighborhood. I just looked, this is a screenshot from Capitol Hill, which is in Seattle. Who's the number 1 person that pops up on YouTube if I type in Capitol Hill and real estate? This guy, I don't even know his name, but he pops up. He's the first two out of the 3 videos are his. So if I was a consumer looking on the search engine, he looks to me like he's legitimate and he's doing business in that area. I don't even know what his sales volume is or what his history is, but he immediately comes to mind as a neighborhood expert. So stats don't lie on all of this. So 1/3 of all online activity is spent watching videos. So people, when they're online on websites, when they're on Facebook, when they're on Instagram, when they're on YouTube, 1/3 of the online of the activity is spent watching video. 73% of sellers are more likely to list with an agent who uses video in their marketing. I mean, that's 3 out of 4 of sellers. And we've known this stat for forever as listing agents, but homes with video sell 32% faster. So knowing the statistics around it, I think we would want to take a look at video as we're going into next year. What can we do? What types of videos can we do? Long form projects, some things that I've been seeing doing really well. So you can see this agent on here. I don't even know his name, bless his heart. Seattle Neighborhood Guide. He's doing a guide around Capitol Hill. So maybe doing a video around your neighborhood. Maybe doing a video about yourself, what makes you different. I know Stacy Rodriguez, she's done a video in the past about her, and I was like, that's amazing. You can now share that to your potential future sellers of, my name is Stacy Rodriguez and I sell in this neighborhood. This is why I got into real estate. This is my passion. This is what I'm doing. This is how many units I sell. This is how I run my business. It gives you something to reference, and sellers clearly by the statistics want to see those types of things. Listing tours, real estate market tips. I have a couple agents that they'll go on video on social media. So Terry, I know, does this. She does basically a market update every month, herself on camera. Terry Camus, she'll get on and she'll talk about what's going on in the market. Whatever works for you, but I do think that there needs to be some sort of video component as we go into next year. The way you show up does matter. I know we're going over a little bit. Hopefully you guys can bear with me a moment here, but the way you show up does matter. So, pairing what we're doing online line with the way that we're showing up in person. In-person events and gatherings it's kind of like things have been released since COVID. We retracted and now we're back to where it was before, which is more in-person events, more gatherings, more community engagement. So one of the things that always tends to work well, this is a statistic from Shannon, but I know that this works. If you challenge yourself to be around people where there's 5 or more people in a gathering twice a week, if you can kind of challenge yourself to find places where you can be around people and talk with people twice a week, when there's 5 or more people, you will get business. The more you do that, the more you do that. And if you can't find an opportunity for that, you build one. So, if that's putting together some sort of, we're getting into the fall season, let's put together a trunk or treat. Let's do, some sort of Thanksgiving turkey bowl or a turkey trot or something like that. We're into that time of year where people naturally want to gather. So maybe be the gatherer of the people, right? These are kind of some samples. So Stacy Rodriguez, I think, did a shredding event. She's like, I had more people come out than I expected. So, that was kind of a fun idea. This is one I did where I did a baby shower for a friend of mine. Look how many people showed up for that. I think it was close to 40 people ended up coming. Every single one of those people are already in my database. It's kind of fun where they get to come in person and now interact with me and have conversations there. One of our agents, Heather Radall, she does tailgate parties at, Mariners games and Rainiers games. I mean, these types of community involvement will be more important as we go into next year. Some ideas. So I kind of mentioned, some people do little pies, you can do like a pie thing. Lori has these on our resource guide if you wanted to do some sort of pop by idea. Gingerbread homes, poinsettias, some hot chocolate. These are things that you can download and print, very inexpensive, where it gives you a reason to get in person with people, or give a gift as we go into the holiday season. So just kind of to wrap up here, so some non-negotiables for me. So as I'm kind of running my business and growing my business, the non-negotiables for me that do work. So if you're a new agent getting into the business, there's 2 aspects. There's the business setups and there's the advertising. Everybody has to do the business setups, but once they're set up, they should be done in most cases, right? So business setups, make sure you have your vendors set up. Who's your photographer? Who's your stager? Who's your plumber? Who's your handyman, right? Let's go through your list of people you're going to be calling on all the time. Title and escrow would be one of them. Marketing materials and, those types of things. Do you have your materials around you? Are you ready for an appointment? If your friend of yours calls you tomorrow and says, hey, can you come by my house? I want to sell my house. Are you ready for that? Let's manifest, have the materials ready before you go on the appointment. Do you have a simple website and an online presence? At Best Choice, we do that for you. Lori builds our lovely landing pages. So if you need a refresher, you need to change your headshot, change your bio, let's make sure that you at least have something. An LLC and a separate business banking account. This is underappreciated. I feel like a lot of people, when I got into real estate, this is not something people talked about, but do you have an LLC and a separate business banking account? And do you have a budget as we go into next year? One of the simple budgeting things you can kind of keep in mind is it's easy to remember, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 10% goes towards retirement, right? Hopefully you pay your future, right? Pay for your future. 20% reinvested in your business. 30% goes set aside for federal taxes, and 40% should be your salary. It's not a do or die, but at least gives you an idea of where should your money be allocated so you can run a sustainable business as we go into next year. And then kind of going into advertising. So the part 2 to that, there's setup and there's show up. So are you doing some sort of mailing? Are you doing some sort of email campaign? Are you doing some sort of social media campaign? What is your set it and forget it's? What are your non-negotiables when it comes to consistent advertising efforts? And then are you showing up? Are you showing up in person? Are you showing up on social media? What does that cadence look like for you? Are you doing it once a week, twice a week? Consistency, even if it's once a month, it's a start. So start somewhere and then grow from there. One of the things I will challenge you to do is upgrade one marketing strategy. So hopefully I bombarded you with a bunch of ideas, things that are working, things that maybe you need to reconsider or reevaluate or update, you know, as we go into next year. But I would challenge you to update one marketing strategy before you get to the end of the year. Is that your sign? Is that your business cards? Is that some sort of email campaign that you're doing? Is that some sort of social media? Do you need to get a system for that? I would urge you and challenge you to do one change as we go into next year. Is there any questions about that? Or Lori, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, I think that we covered a lot tonight, so I think that's pretty good.
Okay. Virginia, did you have anything you wanted to add in?
No,
Okay.
I think we had everything.
Okay, perfect. Yep, and then Candace, proof of production. Yep, they want to see that you're doing stuff. That's for sure. So thanks for piping in. If you have other questions, reach out to Lori. So if you're wanting to actually implement some of the things we talked about, reach out to Lori. I think it's fairly easy to get a hold of her these days. So
Yep,
let her know
you
if
can
you
find
need
me.
help. And hopefully we'll see you guys on Thursday for our contract class. If you need to pop in for that, scan the QR code here that's on your screen so you can join in for that. Candace, you're gonna have a full class. So
Hey,
thanks you guys.
yay, I want a full class, so come on in.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, thank you so much, you guys. Have an excellent week. We will see you guys next Monday, if not sooner. So good luck this week. Give us a call if you need some help. You have a contract question. We've been getting some weird stuff coming through. So let us know how we can help you.
Yes.